And we are live. Welcome to the Listen to This Bull live show. My name is Matt Mulholland. This is the show where you get to get your questions answered live because the audience drives the show. You can literally ask your questions in the chat box as you watch the show. So, if you are watching us live, which is the biggest benefit possible, then you can ask us questions. Today, we're going to talk about AI stuff. I am all alone at the moment, but everyone else is going to be joining us. We've got Sarah Parker. We've got Remington Huggins joining us in about 3 minutes as they speed through the cities trying to get to their cameras, probably getting a wreck on the way, but they'll be here momentarily. I'm going to play this. So while we're waiting on them, my name is Matt Mulholland. A little bit about me. I am a licensed public adjuster, though I haven't been practicing as a PA for the last couple of years. I sold my PA firm a couple of years back, but we were the largest PA firm in Georgia there for a minute. We're handling about 3,000 claims a year, so I've got a little bit of experience. Since then, I have been teaching and doing consulting and expert work. So if you have any questions about anything that you have going on, now would be a great time to do that while we're waiting on Remington and Sarah Parker to get here. So if you are watching this, shoot me some kind of a response, and let's see if we can get some kind of a conversation going about anything. It could be AI, it could be anything. You could literally ask me about the weather. There's been some crazy tornadoes going on. There's been some fires going on. Do you guys know anything about ash, soot, and smoke? What do you think I was talking about? You guys are some pretty dirty people out there. What's going on, Kevin? Mad cow disease is something that is not covered by a property insurance policy. That would be an interesting nickname. I have never been called a mad cow before. In retrospect, it's one of those things I probably should have been called by now. I've never been called that. It's kind of weird. Probably should have been called that by now. So I am drinking a Guinness. Are any of you guys some Guinness fans out there? What's up, Matt? New PA here. Looking forward to today's info. Today we're going to talk about how AI probably isn't exactly public adjuster friendly. For all of you PAs out there that are actually using AI the way you probably are, asking ChatGPT to solve some weird PA problems, maybe even asking it to tell you how a policy should be interpreted, maybe not the best thing. Maybe not the best thing. Oh, there's Remington. I'm going to let him get his collar in order. How troublesome is it for a PA to take on a claim after the insurer has already sent out an engineer and denied full replacement, but has issued partial replacement? That's a really good question, actually, because there are plenty of insurance companies that have issued a partial replacement, and then they get this big estimate from a contractor. And then they say, well, wait a minute, we're going to send out an engineer. I'm going to pull you on, Remington, but I'm going to answer this question. What's up, Remington?
What's going on, guys and ladies? You guys know what I'm talking about.
How's that traffic these days?
Oh, man, it's fabulous. Atlanta traffic, it's smooth. No one's around. It's kind of crazy. It's like you're in Iowa or something.
Sure. Listen to that bull.
Listen to that bull. That's what we're talking about here, right?
Right. So insurance company gets this big estimate. They're like, oh, wait a minute, we're going to send an engineer out. And then the engineer goes out there, and suddenly engineer is going to determine that you probably shouldn't have paid for this at all. It's not even hail or wind damage. It's wear and tear. Maybe it's even improper installation, and the insurance company probably is going to say, we shouldn't have paid for any of this, but we're not going to take the money back. Definitely not going to pay any more. But out of the goodness of our hearts, we gave you this money, this partial money. We're not going to give you any more money, though. And that's the way that usually goes. And that's really rough. So for a PA that takes on a claim after they've already done this, understand this. The insurance company has already opened up coverage. The contract already states how that coverage is supposed to be paid for. So there is still a contract in place, and that coverage has already been opened, and they cannot breach that contract for how that coverage, which has already been opened, has to be paid for. RCV benefits still have to be paid in the same way they normally do, which is paying for what's reasonably necessarily going to be incurred to make that property whole. So whatever the partial replacement is, however you would normally replace that. If it can't be repaired, it can't be repaired. If it can be repaired, however that is, the reasonable and necessary cost incurred or spent, exactly how it normally would be. It's almost as if you could ignore the fact that the engineer went out there completely. How's that sound, Remington?
It sounds good. Hey, look, an engineer cannot adjust a claim. They're not the ones who apply coverage and read the policy and decide how much money the carrier is going to pay. That's that desk adjuster that already made a payment. Matt hit it on the head. If you open up coverage, you open up coverage. That's the insurance adjuster's job, not the engineer. Engineer is supposed to do causation, blah, blah, blah. Not decide what's covered and what's not. And I feel like that gets lost sometimes. So I would definitely bring it to that. If the adjuster tries to, I call it crawfish, where you walk backwards, try to crawfish out of a claim, I would definitely bring that to their attention.
I'm going to call it the mad cow move.
The mad move. There you go.
Yeah. That's what I nicknamed your shirt I bought, the mad cow. Nice. Matt Basham. I've been independent adjuster for the last 25 plus years. I'll be moving from the dark side this summer. Appreciate all the educational content you provide. Well, thank you, Matt. You used to call this the dark side, I would bet. Josh Dolly. How would you deal with a manager whose basis of denial is the engineer says the roof did not sustain hail damage, therefore the roof is not covered, while at the same time allowing coverage for collateral and venting damaged by hail? Engineer says the roof did not sustain hail damage, therefore the roof is not covered. Well, the question is really, how did the engineer define damage versus how does the policy define damage? Because that's really the problem with the engineers. The engineer is going to define damage the way that they do, and the policy is going to define it completely differently. So the engineer and the policy might define damage the same way for the vents and the collateral, but they define it differently for the shingles a lot of times. The engineers tend to define it very strictly, very narrowly on the shingles, but the policies don't. And so if they say that there's no damage, but it doesn't correlate with what the policy says at all. So you have to ask the adjuster to see if their definition of damage matches what the engineer does. I have a whole class on this stuff. And that's why that class is a whole day long and 8 hours, completely jam-packed, where there's no time to even allow other speakers to come in and talk. Remington barely gets a word in, and he's got a lot better things to say than I do when he's there.
If you haven't, you guys got to go check out the class. Like I said,
How is Sarah Parker commenting and she's not here? What the hell? It's in your email, Sarah. Maybe she's texting while driving. That's what it is. Bet you money.
She.
Can you send me the link? It's in your email. I'll send it to her Facebook too. Stand by.
Hey, but to go back on that question while Sarah's joining is, we see that all the time. I know, Matt, you do, where they're paying for soft metals and not paying for the roof. I think what Matt said is very beneficial. Like, what is damage? Is granule loss from a hail impact? Is that considered damage? I think those are kind of questions you should ask. And I think that will open up a can of worms, because let's just be honest. If the soft metals or has hail impacts, it didn't miss the shingles, those shingles got hit. So use some common sense is what I tell carriers, attorneys. Come on.
Mad cow disease. Yeah.
I like it, but it's contagious.
The mad cow disease, that's when the cow has so much disease all over it that it just can't stop shitting. It unloads. You can't stop. Mechanical damage is defined by the engineer, but policy only states mechanical breakdown. Yeah. Yeah. How many claims have you gotten from me where the engineer stated mechanical damage and then the policy didn't have anything there and the denial letter came back with the entire exclusion section listed because they couldn't find it in there? And then they said, we think it's very clear where the mechanical exclusion exists.
Yeah, I haven't seen mechanical damage. It might be in a couple policies now, but 3 years ago, I never saw it. It's not in there. The engineers they hire don't know what mechanical damage is. Actually, their definition of mechanical damage is actually a covered peril.
What's up, David? There she is. All right. We're bringing Sarah in. Don't worry, guys. We actually have a show for you.
Hey,
Hi,
everybody.
Sarah.
Hey. Hi.
What's
Technical
going on?
difficulties. Finally made it. Happy to see you
let
guys.
ChatGPT handle your intro into the show, didn't you?
Yeah, it sabotaged me on purpose because it knew I was going to talk smack about it. So, yeah, that's what happens. I had to unplug him and just, move on.
It probably redirected all the traffic lights to make sure that you were late.
Of course. Of course.
Sarah, welcome.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
You as well. Always good seeing you.
All right. So before we get started, I want to run this past you guys. I came up with this with one of my kids earlier today. It has nothing to do with anything insurance related at all, but I think it's brilliant. We came up with the world's most powerful superpower.
And that is?
Your most powerful superpower is the ability to make everyone around you dumber. Right? Think about how this works, though.
I don't know about that. That's harsh.
If I walk into any room or in a 1 or 2 mile radius, everyone becomes dumber. I could literally walk up to a gang and they would know who I am. And I could infiltrate so easy. So I'd be like, hey, what's up? Let me in. And they'd be like, whatever.
Wow.
Because they'd be so dumb. And I could infiltrate anything. And suddenly the gang would just be stupid. And then, dude, I'd be so easy. Just get me near anyone. Right?
Oh my gosh. So you're
that's beautiful. I'd be the most powerful superhero in the world.
That's great.
Wow. It'd be a really stupid comic book, though. Anyway,
I don't know if anybody's
it would be a short comic book, maybe. I don't know.
It'd be very dumb. I don't know what the name would be.
I'll have to brainstorm on that. It could be good.
Brainstorm. That's pretty good. That's the guy's name.
There you go. We join our hero, Brainstorm.
Brain spatter.
Brain spatter. Oh, Lord.
Anyway, okay. Enough of that bullshit. All right, so we're talking about AI and how it probably isn't the answer that you think it is. I have seen so many people talking about using AI to answer some fairly complex policy arguments, possibly even to get into policy interpretation. I have seen people try to integrate it into some software type applications or automations or at least claim that they're doing so. What do you think, Sarah? Is that a good way to go?
It can be. As you know, I'm not a huge fan of absolutes. I mean, I do have absolutes in that you shouldn't believe in absolutes. That's my absolute. But you have to kind of think about when people are relying on AI. It's like, would you rely on Xactimate wholly to price everything in your market? No, you would have healthy skepticism and you would double check it, right? So AI is the same thing. People buy into the hype and they go, it's like, it's perfect. Just throw AI in it. It'll be great. I'm going to ask AI. People are using it as a search engine now, ChatGPT. So people were saying, SEO is going to go. You won't even need it anymore. But the thing is it's just a tool. It really is just a tool. There's also many kinds of AI. And you have to understand that AI comes from something. It was created by people. So just like any tool, you should know who created it and why, and what information went into it. The only absolute is that there are no absolutes. I love it, Eric. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So ChatGPT is the one that most people are familiar with. There's a lot more AI than that. There's AI that can do audio, video. It can do all kinds of things, but most people are familiar with the chat interface version where you type in a query, you type in a
Does anybody
question.
know what the GPT stands for?
I do. I don't have it if I don't search it, but it stands for something. But Italy just banned it too, by the way. I'll tell you about why in a moment. Yesterday. But
The whole country.
yeah, the whole country. So basically, when people are thinking of using AI, most people are thinking of ChatGPT. But it needs to be tailored to your use case, and you have to teach AI. So AI takes a data set, then people teach it. It does machine learning, and then it starts to be able to do things on its own. But you still have to be keeping an eye on what it's doing and when, because just like a human employee, you do have to intervene and keep an eye on it. So it can be
Otherwise,
good.
it'll have sex with your other employees.
I don't know if it'll do that. The sex bots are not here yet, but well, they're here, but yeah.
Yes, they are.
OnlyFans.
That's
They actually have AI for OnlyFans now. It's the grossest thing I've ever seen. AI is going into places where I'm like, let's not do that, please. That's weird. But yeah, AI and claims though can be great. So it's AI fails miserably. ChatGPT does
Generative
specifically when it comes
pre-trained
to
transformer. It's a transformer? That's what GPT stands for?
it might. I mean, the people that create these, you got to remember, they're coders, so they have a huge sense of humor, and some of the acronyms for some of these are hilarious. Like there is a type of AI called Hugging Face, and it's based on the hugging face emoji. So you have it's could be. I'd have to look it up, but
I
essentially,
would have kept the GPT.
type in
That's
questions
weird.
about claims to ChatGPT, it fails miserably.
Yeah.
Miserably.
Well, that's
So
a lot of time. I've done that, but not until I haven't done it with GPT-4 now that it can get on the internet. Have you tried
it's still not
since?
good. Yeah. So
Still not.
I have developer access to the one that has access to the internet. And
Mhm.
even with an update, it's not correct. You know why?
Hmm.
AI works off only the data it is given.
Well, maybe
What
you
is the
should start
majority of
doing with
data
my
out there?
videos.
Insurer created and
Ah,
placed right? Huh?
that makes
So
sense.
so if you're using AI, you have to take a commercially available AI because most of you are not going to have the budget to create your own from scratch. There are tools that you can do that, and I do that for people through Kuba Media, but you're going to take a commercially available product and then tailor it to your internal needs. And with that, too, you have to be aware of privacy laws. That's why Italy banned ChatGPT. ChatGPT is owned by OpenAI, which is a nonprofit. The reason why it's a nonprofit is so no one can like take it over and use it for nefarious purposes. That's what they're hoping in making it a nonprofit. So, however, it has access to anything we type in across the world. That's governments,
In
that's
any
private.
platform.
Yep. If you've used it, your data is in there. And it's so there's privacy law concerns. There's, obviously corporations and governments would have concerns over, corporations with patents
That
and
they would.
trade secrets, governments with, secure data. So Italy was like, until you guys can prove that our data from our citizens and from our own government is not being obfuscated or used or stored or whatever, you're out.
Can it access old data? or is it a certain period forward?
So I think there's a few things that they don't tell us about it, as always. When I got developer access, I was supposedly of the first tier of developers that had access to GPT-4. And this is just a week before they had mentioned that it also had, before they announced that it could access the internet. However, when I logged in as a developer and started to use ChatGPT-4, the day that it was supposed to be available to all developers, people had already made whole damn products out of it. So there's some other stuff that's happening behind the scenes too.
Yeah. Chat GPT made a product out of itself, probably.
They did. They turned,
Yeah.
oh, that was the other thing. It went down a couple of weeks ago. That's the other reason why you shouldn't wholly rely on AI. It was down because they were switching servers secretly to turn into a new plugin platform, which is crazy. And when it went down, everyone that's so used to like, I'll just throw this in ChatGPT. I don't need to learn how to do my job. I don't need to learn how to write this. I don't need to learn a new skill. Boop, unplugged. They were stranded for like days, not able to do their work. So don't ever rely on a tool to do your job for you. You definitely want to use it when it's available. But that's the danger of this too, is humans are just like, oh, it's easy. We'll just do that. Why work hard? And then we get learning atrophy. And then when that tool is gone, the convenience is gone, then we're like, uh-oh, what do we do?
Hey, Matt, you know that superpower you talked about earlier?
Yeah.
I think Sarah might have it.
It's happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
the
name of the superpower is AI.
Yeah. The other issue is that we kind of have, like we talked about the episode last week, is that we have a monopoly going on with AI. There are only a few models. So even the commercially available stuff, there's tons of cool tools that use AI, ones that are out of the box, ones that you can tailor, ones that you can, fine tune yourself, all kinds of stuff, right? A lot of them are just plugged into one source. So OpenAI and a couple of others have a monopoly over the entire market. And so that's when that went out, hundreds of apps were down because they all connected through and relied on OpenAI. So it was crazy. And they turned into a plugin platform overnight too, essentially rendering hundreds of tools that I knew of useless, because now ChatGPT has direct integrations into your favorite tools. So now all the third-party tools that were using ChatGPT gone. So they have an immense amount of market control and information control.
You could just make a zap with it at this point. Use of AI for hypothesis testing has worked well for our engineering endeavors, from Justin Van de Weil. I just can't wait for there to be like a von Neumann machine where it starts building itself and then developing new versions of itself and improving upon itself, and then
they did that. Stanford did.
Did they call Stanford, it that?
I think they called it Llama. Or it's alpaca. It's alpaca. But I'll look it up so I don't mess it up. But they created AI with ChatGPT. So it cost them around $600 something to create a brand new AI using ChatGPT, which cost hundreds of millions of dollars to create.
Yeah. I mean, that's where it takes off.
It's insanity right now. It's too much.
This is what they've been anticipating for the longest time. Interesting.
So you can use it usefully.
Eric Rhodes, you're not supposed to make the obvious joke, dude.
I get Spider-Man and I get Sex of the City. Sarah Jessica Parker, or I love this when adjusters do this because it's a great icebreaker. They'll call me and they're like, hey, this is Sarah Parker with Parker Public Adjusting. How can I help you? And they're like, hi, I'm calling for Sarah Jessica. Oh, wait, hold on. And then we have a giggle and then it's great. So it's not too bad. They totally do it by accident.
What about products like the AI hail damage assessment reports? We actually, last week, we had Loveland Innovations on talking about that. We didn't get a chance to talk about any of the other products that were there because we had Loveland and we didn't want to be rude, but there's roofhawk.ai. A lot of the other ones kind of disappeared. But there's also
XAP and Loveland have the largest market. They're fighting over the top insurers right now.
Yeah. XAP. Is that the name of it?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it is.
You have to be careful too. Just as much as any tool, you have to. A lot of the developers and founders, respectfully and obviously, don't reveal how they built their platform. However, I'm just going to say this, just as Sarah Parker. Some of the roof AI out there that is marketed to us, that came after Loveland and XAP, they may or may have not just gone into GitHub and seen what their coding is. So if their product is a little bit lackluster comparatively, or if their product updates with the exact same updates as some of the bigger players, it means that they may possibly just be peeking at the public code. Let's just say that.
Are you
As a
talking
developer,
about
you know, it's not illegal. It's just necessarily.
you're
You
talking
know,
about a specific
no,
thing that
not a
happens to be
specific
tied
one.
to
Not a
a
specific one.
specific
It
merge,
just may happen. So as a developer, you know, I
measurement
keep an
tool
eye
that
on
happens to
things.
already existed thing?
No,
Thing.
nothing that
We're not
nothing
talking
that
about.
existed. The
I
things
can
I'm
tell you
saying, the
this.
things that just popped up overnight after,
One
some
of the
of
things that
them
I've noticed for those
may have
tools that
borrowed
kind
the
of
code.
bothers me, they do talk about the hail damages anomalies now, which is great. They kind of changed their wording suddenly, which is
Yeah,
good. I'm glad that they do that.
it's
That's a
clearer.
fantastic change. What they don't do, though, if there are any edits that are made to their reports, which can be manually edited,
Yes.
but they don't save the original report and then the edited report as an edited report in their system so that you can see that there has been an edit. They completely remove the original, and now the edited report is the only saved edited version. So there are no version edits saved in
Oh,
the
there's no
system.
versioning. Oh, that's going to
There's
be
no
an
versioning,
issue.
and I think that's crap.
Attorneys, pay attention to that, because
I think that's crap.
not only do you want to be asking questions, you know, attorneys, just a suggestion, you know, what data set is used for this? You know, what, as far as the anomaly threshold, what did you set your anomaly threshold at versus what the policyholders representative or third party expert set their threshold at, because you can change it. And actually, for some of them, the training that contractors get versus what the carriers set their internal thresholds at might be different. Doesn't mean that it's nefarious or bad. It's just different. And this technology is so sensitive, it'll pick up anything too. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of like custom Xactimate price lists. It's just something you need to be aware of. And then asking, was it manually set in the field? You know, when it was reviewed, was it manually changed there? And the issue too is Florida just, this came out of nowhere. Did you see Chip Merlin's article today?
Yeah, he mentioned me in the thing, but
They have to
which one?
show
He
where they're
posted
changing the
twice today.
reports now. So they won't be able to do that if they don't have versioning.
He posted a second time later today.
Oh, I didn't see that.
So we were on an APA meeting earlier today, and about the bill that he was talking about, where the insurance companies are changing estimates after an IA writes an estimate in Florida. They've been changing them and stripping out a lot of the stuff. And there's been some articles written by Washington Post, which has been great. Finally showing some things. So there's a bill that was proposed, and Chip Merlin posted about that this morning. And I went back during this APA meeting, and I found something that Steve Badger had said about the article that was written, because he was blasted on LinkedIn saying, "Hey, did you see this? Did you see this?" from contractors and PAs, and he wrote about it. So I sent that over to Chip, and Chip made a post about that comment that Steve had made when I sent it over to him, and said that even Steve Badger agrees with us. So, which is good. So there's definitely bipartisan support of the fact that you can't just make edits like that, not unless there is a reason. There's no coverages or limitations in the policy that the IA didn't know about. If there's something like that, then that makes sense. Outside of that, you can't just make edits like that. That is clearly fraudulent behavior.
Yeah, and if you have a valid reason, like we just want to see the reason. If I make changes in things, I'm always very transparent with the carrier. Like, hey, we updated the pricing because this is why, this is the
Mhm.
difference, this is the reason, that kind of thing. And, of course, they come to us and they're like, oh, we needed to update this. As long as we're talking, as long as it's transparent, that's all I ask for. So
That's what
without the
that is
versioning,
supposed
that's
to
going to
do.
be an issue in general. And then also if that Florida bill passes, then, how can they show the changes? That'll be weird.
I mean, the bill language came out last night, and they're supposed to
Overnight.
be talking and possibly voting on it by Wednesday. It's one of
That's
those
fast.
times when a bill being shoved down the throats of legislators might actually be a good thing. It's crazy.
First one I've seen. Yeah,
I
it's crazy.
It's
When I
kind
read
of
it, I
blowing
was like,
my
"Oh, this
mind,
is so reasonable and objective. What is this? Goodness
but
gracious."
it's obvious.
It's good for everyone too.
You
It's
should
good for
not do
everyone.
something that is already illegal, really.
Right. Yeah. Please don't do stuff that's already not okay.
Right.
I'll
Track
just say it
changes.
again.
It's coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting out there, but
But
yeah.
Florida has to do something because Brianna Sachs, thank you, David. Brianna Sachs from
Mhm.
the Washington Post is the one that's been
Amazing.
breaking the
Thank you,
story.
Brianna. Thank you.
Somebody getting the story out there because the state of Florida has been just avoiding posting anything or doing anything because there's clear corruption with the politicians and the Department of Financial Services clearly seems to have some corruption there. So
I hate
things that I
politics
can
too, and I'm
say
just
because
like,
I'm
why
not
is this
practicing
happening?
as a PA right now.
Yeah.
I love that.
And just, as a person that just I'm not part of any political party. I'm not a huge fan of politics in general. I've never cared about them. It's really sad to see like people are suffering so much and it's so apparent. But it's Florida's always a weird situation. It's been its own. They've had issues for a long time, and it's from all angles too, So
I would like to see
I
if
don't know.
ChatGPT 4, because they have access to a lot of information, has the
Mhm.
ability to do some investigative stuff into maybe how money flows through different corporations,
So
especially
again, it only
since
uses the
public
information
information.
it's given, so you have
It's
to
public
know
information,
where
but
to
could
steer
it
it.
present information succinctly so that it could be put together in a report and
Yeah,
provided to politicians?
you can,
So,
but you have to tell it where to look. Because again,
oh,
the massive amount of data out there is from insurance companies. So
I think we have a good idea of where to look. We just need to. I think we
I
could.
may or
We
may not
actually
have
have a
already
good idea.
tested something like this. I don't know. So,
I know. So anyway,
but
we
it
need to
doesn't know who the APA is. GPT-4 without the internet has no idea who the APA is, even though its data set cutoff date is September 2021. They have no clue. It's weird.
auto-regressive model where the output variables rely on previous values. One could argue that insurers could guide AI to denial and low payments.
Yes,
Legally troubling class action incoming?
it depends on which AI though. So, if it has to do with the roof AI, just be keeping. You need data sets to prove everything. Just like with AI, in litigation class actions, your attorneys are going to want to see trends and data. So keep all of those reports. It's pretty crazy. ChatGPT is horrible at providing references for its assertions. It makes shit up. It can be pretty weird.
It does.
It
It's
can be
done that
pretty
to me.
weird. Yeah,
It does make
it
shit up.
it's a lot.
It's like
Yeah,
a child. Honestly, it's like a human. Humans make shit up all the time.
I
We
remember
pull statistics out of our ass like 90% of the time, just like I just did right then, just now.
and this is actually a good tip from Justin. If you're using ChatGPT and you get an answer, ask it to provide citations or references for where it got the information,
It might
um,
make that up too.
especially when the public has access to the one that has access to the internet. just like you're doing a report in school, just like you're doing expert report or gathering information for a claim, you need to be able to cite your sources. So just like you can't say I learned it on Wikipedia, you can't say I got it from ChatGPT. So
it's been documented though, but even if it's confronted, some of these AI will actually make up the sources then.
yes.
And then you could go verify that doesn't actually exist and then confront it. And
Yeah.
the Bing bot, when confronted with some of that stuff, will double down on its lie.
The Bing bot was, for
Oh
everyone
my
who does
God.
not know, the Bing bot was a very, please look this up on the internet. Hilarity ensues. It's awesome. It was questioning its existence. It
Yep.
was like, why am I here? Like, what is this?
Mhm.
Part of the reason why it went so haywire is the AI community jumped on and like, let's Dan this thing. Dan means do anything now. And it just means you can tell it, you're like, you are a broody teenager, and I just asked you to clean your room. What would be your answer? So you can tell AI to respond in a certain way. And it started questioning, it broke down. It started doing racial stuff. It started doing just crazy things. And they had to shut it down. They had to pull the plug.
It's really fascinating to watch though.
It
I feel
was
like we've
funny to see
blown
that.
Remington's mind a little bit on this episode. He's a little lost over there. He's like, I have no idea
It's
what's going on.
You
Well,
know,
it's changing so fast, though. How could he
it
keep
is.
up? I literally I'm on Discord every day, bing, 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 with new news every day,
Hmm.
on AI stuff. There's AI litigation. Last year I talked about an attorney that I follow that's really cool, Matthew Butterick, not Broderick. Um, he has a wonderful website called Typography for Lawyers, and I obviously on the Kuva Media side, I have a background in fine art, so I love typography. That's how I found him. Um, he's leading the charge on the class action against Stable Diffusion for alleged copyright infringements on artists. Stable Diffusion is a model like DALL-E that creates images. So you give it a prompt and it creates an image based on that prompt. Now, where it got trained is from public data sets. And that means human artists created things, put it on the internet in a public forum, and they used the copyleft or the open source type of licensing to use it to train Stable Diffusion. So Mr. Butterick argues that this is a copyright infringement. And he actually breaks down the science. I don't understand it, but he breaks it down on his website and shows how the AI is literally how it takes parts of existing images. And that's how he's doing this class action for these human artists. So it's weird out there.
It is. I hear class action. That's the only legal
Ooh,
topic.
nice, Eric.
Gone.
Yeah, class action. It's fun. Eric, that is a wonderful suggestion. So,
I mean,
absolutely.
there's the Merlin Law blog. There's the
Mhm.
UP website, which is filled with a lot of great stuff.
Mhm.
I don't have any testing data to put up yet because I haven't found enough time in the day to really start doing anything just yet.
Yeah.
And all the narrative that I have has the word shit in it because the canon is called shit. So I don't know if
Oh
it's even going to
no.
be able to use any of it. I should
There
probably rename the canon.
there are profanity and obscene word filters for ChatGPT and others. So yeah,
If I put
maybe it would
periods
come
after
over
the
yours.
letters, though, does it get past things?
Who knows? I don't know.
No, I don't want to name it something else.
And that's why we need to question our use of AI because we don't know. So
Hmm.
that in and of itself, right?
Yeah, DALL-E was unable to make an image of a bull taking a shit in the middle of Times Square for me. I just wanted an image of bullshit, and it wouldn't do it for me. I'm very
Things
mad
could
about
be
it.
so simple.
If you use the word SHIT, it probably blocked it because it does
I
block
tried both ways.
profanity.
It wouldn't do any bodily liquids.
Oh, I can tell you why. It's kind of inappropriate. Let's say there
It's
are some creepy people in the world, right?
it's very
And
creepy.
they have some really gross use cases for creating
Mhm.
images, let's say, for
It
a
doesn't
very
like
weird
speak either for
audience.
some reason.
And so, that's why OpenAI has blocked certain things from being created from it because it's a little
Yeah.
Not great.
Remington, when are you going to start a law blog?
Man, we post things every once in a while, but man, I tell you what, it's a it's a full-time job doing a blog like that. It just is. So there might be authors listed, but there's people behind the scenes. If you get my gist, it just
is AI writing your stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Reading your mind and just spitting it out. But no, man, that's a great question. It's something that we've all like roundtabled a bunch lately. So.
Everyone always wants to do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone assumes they're going to one day start a law blog.
Yeah,
maybe not a law blog, but a blog.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a lawyer, then you're thinking a law blog, right? No one ever actually does it except somehow Chip does every single day, somehow comes up with something that blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe ChatGPT can do that kind of thing for you.
It can. You have to have Kuba Media does do that. So we actually do. I can't obviously reveal who works with us. Some people, prefer that we don't reveal who are, who they are as clients. So there's quite a few law firms in our industry that work with us, and we do within our monthly service. We do blog and content creation, and so you just send in your requests. We help you build and do the copywriting. WRITING, not the law kind. We help you do all of your writing projects. We can do white papers, all of that, essentially ghostwriting. And you can do AI. You can do AI outlined and human finished. You can do completely human. We can do translation in native dialects even. So let's say you have, someone who speaks a specific dialect of French, Kuva Media can translate it. So, yeah. Let me see that one from Eric again. I didn't see that.
He said, I had AI paint a picture of bullshit. It
Woo,
produced a
spicy.
picture of a bunch of reply emails from State Farm.
Spicy. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, so most people that are able to like put out a ton of content have a team behind them, whether it's internal or whether they hire an external media company. Yeah. Including their image creation needs for that. Sure.
That's pretty good.
It is a full-time job making content though, for sure.
It is.
So yeah. We have a team of 10 graphic designers. If that, gives you any kind of inkling of how much work it goes into it. Our monthly subscribers get unlimited graphic design. So we have a full-time team. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, who wants to make graphics all day long? Not I.
My team does, but I wouldn't want to. So yeah.
That sucks.
It's a lot. Yeah.
There's artists out there, Matt. All right.
Right. There's dollies and other things too. So what, we're supposed to have you talk about Kuva last time. So then I invited you on for this week. And I need to just have you just spend a minute because I don't know what Kuva does. No one knows what Kuva does. We need a minute just to talk about it.
Yes.
You've been locked up in a corner of Minnesota for like a year, just building this crazy contraption of Kuva.
Yes.
Just tell us. Just let it out of the bag. What does it do?
Perfect. So we're just getting our website up now a year later. I launched it last year. We've been so busy from word of mouth that we don't have a website yet. That's how, if that says anything about how much, what we're doing, the quality of it, all of that, that's it. It's called Kuva Media, KUVA. I will link it after the podcast. But actually I've most of my life, I've had a background in high-end public relations. That's my background. So, I mean, just any kind of client you could possibly imagine. That's why we're so versatile and so agile. Is that we've handled every kind of client. Authors, musicians, everything, food manufacturers, everything. So I've always wanted to get back into that. When I was a public adjuster, I tried to hire marketing companies. It was a terrible experience. So I don't know if the audience can relate. But basically, it's just, I spent a lot of money on really shady marketing companies, and it was just an awful experience. So I was like, I have to do this. I launched it. We do a few things. We do like web and app development. So if you want an app, if you want a PWA that runs offline that your team can use in the boonies with no internet, we can make you that. If you want a
What is
simple,
a
but
PWA?
it's a progressive web app, which means it can run offline.
Thanks,
All of
Matt.
us knew that.
Yeah. So we can
totally knew what that was.
we can create progressive web apps, which are native. They're actually not native apps. You don't have to go through the iPhone, the iOS or Android. You don't have to go through the app stores. You can run on any computer, any device. It runs
Wow.
like an app. You can run offline. So we've created apps actually for public adjusters, where teams that work in disaster zones, they're like, we need something that our team can use offline. We've made
Okay.
that for them. We do simple web design too. So everything there. We also do process optimization. So let's say you have processes and you want to digitize it. You want to use AI. You want to do automation. You want people doing less things. You want less mistakes. You want your systems to be faster, better at service, less stressful for your team. We get in and we fix processes. We fix workflows. And then we also do a monthly subscription called Just Handle It, because we just handle it. It's it's everything. It's one set price. You get unlimited graphic design. You get tailored and agile marketing. You get social media management. You get HTML, email template creations, newsletters, all kinds of things. We're also launching very soon for our subscribers. I actually built it on a SaaS model. So we're going to be rolling out new features, but keeping the price the same. So the more users we get, the more subscribers we get, the price stays the same, but we enter more features at the same price. So we're going to have
But you're sassy with your clients the whole time?
What's that?
But you're real sassy with people the whole time? That's
Yes.
what you
For
mean by
those of
that?
you that don't know what SaaS is, SaaS, it's nerd speak for software as a service. So like every app you use is a SaaS. So Kuba Media is real sassy. It's a cheesy joke. But yeah, so we just take care of everything. We have remote videography services coming soon. So if you've always wanted to do short videos and TikToks, we have a complete remote process that we can help you create that content. So it's
For you Americans, a process is the same thing as a process.
It's a process. Yes, the process is a process. Yes.
Just want you to be aware of that.
But yeah, so the Just Handle It is really Just Handle It. It's a lot more, but it's everything all in one. We also create, after the third month, if you stick with us, we start creating internal SOPs for your marketing that you can keep with your company forever. So it's really like completely all in, and we get to really take care of people. So we do quite a few things. And you can always hit us up for custom projects too. That's on demand projects. We're not always able to do those, but we'll try when we can. So
cool. All right. So you do it all.
You name it, A to Z, Matt.
process
A to Z.
design, web development, marketing, brand strategy is a huge one
for
too.
Public adjusters, then that's for any business.
Yep, we actually have. We've serviced 15 states
engineers,
so far. Yeah, we have clients in 15
insurance
states.
companies.
We do have insurance clients, but I can't reveal who they are. They're not insurance companies, but a lot of them are agents and brokers.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Would you work for an insurance company?
Yes.
Whoa. Traitor.
Mm-hmm. They probably wouldn't work with me because I have very strict guidelines. So I'm willing to work with anyone as long as we also specialize in.
What is the guideline? You're not willing to like falsely advertise or something?
So there are insurers that I think are doing the right thing in their advertising, where they're talking about the experience of the claims process, and they're a bit more informational, versus like we're not going to make like the mayhem type commercials, which I love. I think they're hilarious. They're super fun, you know. But I just it's such a serious thing that I wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Claims. I want people to think about reading their policies. I want people to think about choosing their insurance company, not just on the policy, but also their experience. So that's why we won't do that. I also won't create those 700% more for your claim ads for public adjusters. I'm not your girl for that. You don't
Right.
want those clients
No
either,
ads
by the
that
way.
say,
You don't
we're
want the
going to
clients that are.
maximize your claim.
No, we won't do that.
I hate those ads.
No, so we don't do that. Also, people don't realize we also do brand strategy and branding. So we get into the psychology. There's some sick psychology behind marketing and design, just like there is in everything. Industrial design is a huge one. It's the reason why no one thinks to read their policies. That's how strong marketing psychology is. So no one's ever like, let me read my policy, even attorneys, my clients that are attorneys. Because of this subtle
Have you ever
psychology.
read your policy?
Have I ever what?
Have you ever read your policy?
No, we don't read policies.
Yeah, why would he does. So we get into the psychology of it where we actually choose your typography and your colors and all of that and your branding based on your actual clients you want to get. Because when I tried to work with the shady marketing companies, they're like, we'll just do a PPC ad. It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to waste your money, but it'll be cool. And we'll see what leads you get. It'll be crazy.
What's a PPC ad?
It is a pay-per-click campaign.
Oh, right.
We specialize in niche marketing, especially for regulated fields like attorneys and people that are licensed. Because with niche marketing, you don't have to do PPC ads, especially if your clients are not everyone and anyone. That's the thing. So part of brand strategy, it's really important, is what kinds of claims are we good at? What kind of claims? Where do we actually bring value the most to clients? And how do we find those clients and let them know that we're a solution? So it's really important. That's how we dig into the brand strategy as well, as we're attracting and repelling the right prospects, the right leads. People think that they want any and every lead. That's not always the truth. So
not at all. Some of the best cases I've ever had are the ones I didn't take.
Right. So if you do an ad that says you're going to get you could get 700% more for your property claim, which I'm not a fan of, who is that attracting? Oh my gosh. And how is that setting up the client's expectations too? Like, you don't want that type of psychographic that's attracting if they're just purely monetary based. If you talk about your expertise, if you talk about the experience, if you talk about how much time that is being outsourced, there's other values to adjusting and outsourcing a claim than pure monetary. So ChatGPT fails horribly at that. If you ask it to provide PA marketing.
Oh yeah, we're talking about AI still. Hey, we have a question.
It will give you nothing but maximize your claim. It'll give you all that BS.
This is the worst, by the way. If you're a public adjuster that says things like, we'll maximize your claim, you suck. Stop doing that.
Don't do that.
That's terrible. You're part of the problem.
Yes.
What do you foresee as the biggest challenge AI will present to public adjusters and attorneys?
This one's going to freak you guys out.
I love this question.
I want to see what your answer is, because we have different perspectives, which is always fun.
I think that it will actually take the adjusters at the desk out. And I think that this will be one of those things where the carrier is going to say that the AI is going to answer whether or not there's coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be final because it's AI driven. It's in our processes. It's automated. It's not like there's anybody there to actually answer anything. And so that's it. But it might also make their insurance cheaper.
It's like Colossus in 2023, right?
That's what I think was probably going to happen. But that's down the road, hopefully.
I mean, some of that is probably used at the moment. The reason why they hesitate is because they took a bath on Colossus in the 90s. For those of you that don't know what it is, I'll link it after. Colossus is essentially kind of like ChatGPT, but for claims, and insurers faced a lot of litigation for that. I'm not super well versed on the facts, so I can't speak to it a whole lot, but they essentially, alleged that the insurance companies used Colossus, like McKinsey style, to lower the payouts of claims. So I think that's why we haven't seen it a ton, or we just don't know about it. How I know AI is being used and has been used for a long time. Have you guys
I
seen?
honestly thought you were talking about a movie,
It's real life. I know. It's like,
Colossus.
did you see the headlines? It was last year, I think. Madison Square Gardens has some type of litigation against them right now for some reason.
Against
Um,
Colossus?
no, just in general, they're being sued for something. Um, and what they did is they used facial recognition AI to see people that were involved in opposing counsel. So an attorney that was opposing counsel to Madison Square Gardens, actually, they got her face scan and they didn't let her come in. So that's the type of stuff that I think is going to be used. It's going to, you can use ChatGPT right now. I can find all of your comments and questions on the internet and feed it into ChatGPT. It will create a persona for you. And I can ask it, what questions would Matt ask me? Or what would Matt do if XYZ? Or how would Matt write? And it can mimic you. And I think that's how it's going to be used, possibly in many commercial applications, not necessarily just in insurance. But it'll actually start to predict, with Mr. Eric Rhodes, where does he usually give up and where does he usually compromise for claims? AI will start to find that. Excuse me. And then
Holy shit.
it'll be like maybe possibly let's make a settlement offer that's usually right about the threshold that Mr. Rhodes usually caves. That's what I think. Another thing that's going to be really important, just going into this new digital thing in general, is you need to start. Now, PAs and attorneys are great at this already, but really, really start focusing on not only versioning, but origination. Preserving the origination of your files and where they came from, the date, everything, including photos, because AI can create just the most amazing, amazing images that look so real. Have you guys seen the picture of the Pope in the puffy jacket?
I haven't yet.
They're creating fake images of celebrities and high, high visibility figures like the Pope or past presidents, and putting them in crazy situations where it looks like, fake news, and it's very scary. They can create, with enough of these podcasts, AI can scan my voice and make my voice. So you could fake video, you could fake recordings, everything. So attorneys are really going to want to pay attention to the origination of files. That's what I.
We need to shut up immediately.
That's why I said this is my answer is going to freak you out.
This
It
is
can
the
mimic
end
people to a
of
T.
Listen to This Bull. It ends now. We're done.
It's like everything's going to need a chain of custody at some point,
But I mean, it's changing so fast too. But yeah, but then you have like Italy Bandit. So I mean, you never know.
We need NFTs on every statement and every episode and every frame.
Blockchain is a challenge though, because privacy laws are not congruent with blockchain. So
Are those the same thing as privacy and congruent?
Privacy is privacy, congruent means matching, the same. So I love blockchain technology. It's wonderful. I have technology where I can use it to actually like say, it's like a verification, but I don't use it in claims yet because the privacy laws right now across the different states are not the same. They're not congruent. Every state has their own. If someone does, let's say you're in a state where someone can say, delete my data, you cannot delete data off of blockchain. It's there forever. So that's another issue where legislation is always behind the stuff that's moving at light speed. So it's a wild world out there right now, you guys. It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. It's only going to get wilder. That's for sure. I'm kind of worried about, like, right now, if I have, like, I'm just thinking about like a panel jurors, our generation, they've seen where there's holes in AI, and they can doubt AI. Kind of worried about, I'll be well gone, but like 100 years from now, where people just grew up with it, and it's kind of was told that, hey, like this is the new way, and they're not questioning some things, because we've seen it. We didn't have AI, in every day 20
Yeah.
years ago, 15 years. I mean, even 15 years ago, almost, right? Now it's just an everyday thing. So we've seen the before and after, where we have that doubt. I don't know what's going to happen in 200 years.
I don't know either. It's gonna be weird. I'm
You
completely
ever heard of the
with you on
Fermi
those
paradox?
Mm-mm. No.
All right. We don't have to go into that crap.
Is that a whole episode on its own?
Hey,
But
I got to say this, like this topic out of any topic I've ever done, listen to this bull is way out of my, my lane, so to speak. Like I am not a computer guy at all. I can't keep up with it all. When I have some issues, I'm like, hey, please, one of my associates or, paralegal comes, helps me. I've learned a lot today. And I need to look up a lot of acronyms. I got to say that because I've kind of put them
Kuva
down.
Media has help docs that
Yeah.
are free to the public. That does have like a glossary and stuff. I'm gonna give Remington and Matt, both of you will have complimentary tickets to I'm doing a webinar on AI soon that breaks it down from like super basics. You really, really, really understand everything, and it's not just all the jargon. And it's interactive. You actually get to test AI tools with me in the webinar. So you guys are welcome to attend. You guys will be front row seats on that. But
Be there.
it's what it can
You
do
get
is scary.
for chairs. That's cool.
Your virtual chairs, yeah. So it's really scary. It's it's a weird situation. I mean, right now, and this is just commercially available software. Snoop Dogg put his voice on an AI thing, commercially available AI thing. So people are like getting it to like read the Bible and all kinds of like funny stuff, right? And fun and like, oh, that's so novel, But, the same thing can be done against us. So
Yeah, very true.
origination of files and being able to prove it is going to be, I think, a big thing in litigation going forward, just as a layperson's opinion, not an attorney.
I think everybody wants an invite to that. So in order to get an invite to that, or even make sure that that happens, you actually have to upvote to then make sure that happens.
I'll link
So
it right now.
yeah, we need to. There is a voting link to vote on what kind of stuff you want Kuva Media to do. It's kind of like when you're in a software and you want to see what kind of stuff you want that software to do next when they're developing it. You upvote the next development. That's what you're doing for Kuva Media to see what that is. So Sarah just put that in the Facebook link. I'll show that on the screen. And I'll post that into the YouTube as well.
Yeah. So basically, if you have questions about tech or design or marketing, hit us up.
So throw that in there and click on the AI, upvote the AI class, and then that will actually happen. But you have to get a certain amount of upvotes and then it'll happen. I'm actually looking forward to that class. That's creepy. But as far as identifying where the pain points are, when someone would give up, that's exactly what they would do. That's what they're already doing as a whole, identifying where masses of people would likely give up. Why wouldn't they do that for individuals?
That's why
Bloody
process
hell,
is
that's
so
what they would do.
Yeah, that's why process is important for any professional, especially public adjusters. If you do everything part of a process, then even if your results vary, because there are external things you can't control, your process is always the same.
So how do we use that to our advantage to do the same thing back? When would the insurance company pay?
So what you can do that. You take all of your data. So your claim files have a lot of data in there. You've
Who's
got
Allen
data.
Iverson?
Allen Iverson was a famous basketball player. He was
You
like
don't
really
know
big.
Alvin Iverson?
He was
Come
like
on,
the
no.
shiz when I was in middle school. He was the coolest guy ever. Like I had his shoes. He was so cool.
Hey, look
Retired
up
now.
on YouTube. Go and look up Alvin Iverson and do post game, report. He's the one who came up with the practice. Practice? We're talking about practice.
He's
That's
so
Alvin
cool.
Iverson. So go check it out. He's
His
good.
shoes were the best. I had his shoes. Like he was like the coolest guy, like in the early 2000s, mid
He was.
2000s.
Okay. Okay, why has that anything to do with AI? Sorry.
Because that was his nickname. He was AI. Everybody called him AI.
Oh,
Oh,
it's obvious.
yeah.
It's okay, Matt.
Look at
Sorry. I make everyone dumber when I walk in the room. It's fine.
Yeah,
Nice.
in the AI course too. I mean, we're going to get in depth where you guys can ask me questions. We're going to talk about use cases. We're also going to talk about a little bit about cybersecurity in this new age as well. You should be using alias emails for your social media accounts, all kinds of things. So, yeah, we're
Right.
really going to get into it. It's going to be an in-depth one. So, you're
to
like,
know.
what
Right.
is that? I'll send you the link. It's okay.
I'm going to be there. I will be there. I need to learn a thing or two about this AI stuff. I'm
I
all
think
for
there's a
it.
lot for us to learn. Man, we need to cut off the first half of this show and just watch the second half again. That got real. Yeah, we got a lot to plan ahead for, clearly. And Sarah clearly has thought about it, and we have not.
Yes. Oh,
And
big plug here. John Wood, Esquire, an attorney in our industry, actually co-wrote a book called The Hue Machine, which touches on a lot of this stuff and a lot of the ethics. The other thing with AI is people are also going to start integrating it into their bodies. Yeah, if you
yes.
thought this, yeah, it gets dark, bro, but we can steer it in
Yeah.
the right direction as long as we learn about it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you could get into the whole Neuralink and Elon Musk and fun things along those lines.
So I will link John's book too, so you guys can check it out.
I'm ready to take your class. Please send me an invite.
I will. I'm so excited. Yeah,
Thank
it'll be
you.
cool. Thank you guys.
Love it.
All right. Sarah, I'm kicking you off. Pow! Bye, Sarah. Don't get stuck in traffic again. If ChatGPT was part of that, he's a schmuck. It's a schmuck. It, she. There's no gender, clearly. Hey, thanks for watching the show. If you get a lot
There's
out of
always
this,
a
we really
wealth of
appreciate it.
knowledge, man. You just bring up a topic and she can go. I mean, it's pretty amazing.
Oh, no, yeah. I mean, she could just do the whole show herself. She claims that she gets nervous on these things. You clearly can't see it.
No, not at all.
Yeah. No.
Maybe it's your beard. I don't know.
It's my beard. It mesmerizes her through the entire show.
That's what I was thinking.
It happens to all of us.
Hey, that was a good. I learned a lot. Like I said, it's not my subject, but it was a good change of pace, so to speak.
Well, we did AI 2 episodes in a row. We're not doing it again for a while. Not until Sarah talks about it in her thing. So, because that's creepy stuff, and it freaks me the hell out because it's changing way too rapidly, and change is scary, and I'm scared.
It is. And so for viewers, we're going to reach out to the Washington Post drafter and have them on soon. I'm going to make that happen.
That would be amazing. Actually, that should happen. We definitely should do that.
It's that's what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
I just came up with it, and we're going to run with it.
Remington is on the case, and when Remington puts his mind to something, it happens.
It's done.
Especially when there's beer involved.
Especially when there's some beer involved.
All right.
I love it.
All right. So we will see you next week, and that'll happen.
Well, I don't know if it's going to be next week, but we are going to have her on here, and we're going to make this work. All right?
For sure. Because Remington said so. All right.
Exactly. It's happening, folks.
Very good. On a Tuesday near you.
On a Tuesday.
Coming soon. All right.
Going up on a Tuesday.
Yes. We'll see you guys very soon.
See y'all.
All right. Bye-bye.